Welcome back to another episode of Breath of Fire 3. Today, we are going to be going towards the goddess. After last episode's tragedy. I know, Ray. I know. So, let's get back into this. Open up that door. And now we reach the hardest areas of the game. With the hardest enemies of the game, hardest trash mobs. The Mistmen are a lot like armors, where you have to break their armor to do any decent damage to them, but much harder. I think they also have... I think that's about it, really. I think they have shock attack, or shock strike? Thunder strike. And that causes the paralyzed status element, which barely ever happens. I mean, which is a really rare status element besides this part of the game. Anyway, so let's just get rid of this guy really quick. Hey, Ray. So, we're finally getting to the very end of the game. Actually, a pretty long last dungeon. 4 areas. We got Eden, and then this area, which I will not name until we get to the part of it where it needs to be named. And then we have like the beginning of the workers area and that main hub, that workers area. I don't know why I kept this battle in, but whatever. And then we have the laboratory, so... Four areas in this dungeon, you have to go through all of them. Each area is like an hour long, if you don't cut out battles. So like a 4-hour long dungeon? It's kinda long. Not gonna lie there. Wish I had coffee. But anyway, we gotta level up. And here we enter the main part of this area. The boss rooms! We face bosses that we've already faced before. You remember these things? Oh yeah, 3 new ways. Actually, they're not new ways, they're called Sample 1. I think they have a little bit more health than the regular new way did, but... yeah, so, new ways. That was quick. They have like 35 more health than the original Nue did. But this kind of implicates that Maria, or the goddess, was controlling things behind the scenes. Like she was making enemies that we fought 7 years ago when we were a child. Now that's pretty odd. And you'll see why that's odd once we face a certain boss, couple bosses here. But I guess that's a good, reasonable conclusion you can come to why we're facing these things over again. There is is you can only enter these doors from one side. You have to go through them, and then you can open them from any side. You have to open them from one side to then open them from any other side. Anyway, here's the Manmo again, or Sample 7 if you wish. He has actually quite a bit less HP, I think around 700, 800 less than he did before. I don't know why they're throwing easier stuff at us. It's kind of sad, really. I never knew these things had less HP until I looked them up on the bestiary. I always thought they were the same HP. Kind of interesting, though. Food for thought. Anmo, you're still weak as usual. Even though you are... Well, we did just face you in the last couple parts. At the end of the hardest thing in this frickin' game. I don't know. There's not a lot to say here. It's just facing a lot of the old bosses that we've seen before. I do like boss runs where, like, in the game you have to go through all the other old bosses again or something. I really like this in RPGs because there are a lot of bosses that I really like. Boss battles are some of the best things in RPGs, have some of the best music, have some of the best fights, rather than the trash fodder. Here, we enter the main hub of the boss rooms. A save point and a staircase leading down. We can actually leave and go straight to the goddess. But let's enter all these rooms and find all the items and fight all the bosses all over again. Not all the bosses are shown in these rooms, but a good number of them are. There's really not that many bosses in this game. Unfortunately, you cannot enter like that. Like I said, they're locked on one side. Until you open them from that side, that it's not locked on, so... We have to go all the way back to the beginning. And just to show it that yes, we can't enter any of these. Yep. Yep. So let's walk back to the beginning. Because walking is something that everybody enjoys in video games. I shouldn't be too hard on this part because this is like not even a 20th of what we did in the freaking desert. Oh, the desert of death. The desert. It's a desert. And it sucks. Here we meet a boss that we haven't met in in the game at all. This isn't even an enemy in the game, really, besides right here. This thing is called the Dodo, but I have no idea where the people got the name for this thing at. Because, like I said, it's not mentioned anywhere in the game, and there's no trash enemies named this. This is the hardest boss in the boss rooms. Has the most HP. Highest attack power and all that. Maybe if you use Momo's Identify on it, maybe it gives you its real name, I don't know. I don't think so, though. I don't think that gives descriptions, just gives you stats and what it drops and stuff. Pretty sure. And really, it looks more like a cockatrice to me than a dodo. But maybe that's just because my image of a cockatrice is more of the cockatrice from like a Tales of Symphonia or other RPGs. Speaking of RPGs, I just finished Tales of Graces. Wow, that was a really... Well, I'm not going to say it's really bad, but it was pretty bad for a Tales of game. I don't recommend it. Anyway, going on, since that conversation really had nothing to do with this. But what can I say? There's not a lot going on here. When I was playing this, I didn't realize it had so much HP. I thought this was just another one of those, I don't know, 2000 HP bosses. I knew I hadn't fought it any time before, and I kinda actually forgot this was a boss. But to each his own, I suppose. Although, that phrase had nothing to do. I am so bad at putting sentences together. Anyway. Ray, do you want to commentate for me? I think you'd be better. Ray, Ray. Ray, Ray. Ray, Ray. Yeah, I agree. I agree, man. Anyway, back to the game instead of petting my pussy. Pico is Ray. Ryu. The feathers on its back look nice, and also, what a hairdo on this frickin' thing. It's like he has part of the giant slug on his head, or huge slug, or whatever it was called. What? I'm busy! Busy commentating! There we go, it's down. Took longer than it needed to be. But oh well. Because we are simply... I don't know what we're simply doing. We're walking around. So that's cool. Glad we got to fight that boss that we haven't seen before. Really, not a lot to say. Something about anime. Did talk about anime. But that doesn't really apply to the people who don't watch anime who watch my videos. But anyway. Oh, these cute things again. Yeah, the huge slugs. They have half the HP they did before. It's like we're just fighting two of them with half the HP. Really kind of boring. Also, why do you have the dodo's head on your tail? Toto's hair on your tail. That's ridiculous. And what's with those optic nerves coming out of your optic chiasma there? Why is your optic chiasma on the outside of your head, giant slug? Huge slug? Where do you get off? Eyeball seizure! Causes my speed to go down. Now these things, I don't think they have the protective coating that the other one did, but it might. I don't actually use any fire attacks against them, I just take them out really quickly. Except for when I miss. Yeah, that kind of changes things a little. I don't think this is technically a slug, though. I don't think slugs have these tendrils where they move around and stuff. What's with that? I mean, don't slugs just kind of emit a gooey substance and constrict their bottom part of their body over and over to propel themselves forward? Something like that? Kind of like gliding, except for it's like a... I really don't know how slugs move. I'm assuming it's something like that. They inch forward by pushing their body forward a little bit, scrunching their body out and stretching out again. The biology of slugs here. Come for the game, stay for the biology of huge slugs. Although technically wouldn't their tendrils kind of just be able to push them forward little by little? Would they even emit the gooey substance that regular slugs do? Well, here's something that's even more of a nightmare in its terms of how it actually would move. The angler. I think this actually has a little bit more HP than it did, but we don't have Gar, so Gar holding us down. So we can take this thing out. No prob. Now this thing, wouldn't it... Those fins on its side, those are like legs, right? Wouldn't it just kind of push themselves forward on those? Pretty sure. Although this thing would have to have lungs to be able to survive. Realism! Video games. Fantasy! Realism and fantasy. Yeah. Not really changing things. I have nothing else to talk about. Spikes. What's with the tattered flag you have for your tail, Angler? That did no damage. Wait a second. No, never mind. Fish do have those on top of their head. Never mind. Also, yay for absorbing electric attacks from the Thunder Ring. Sample 5, just die already. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's getting cold lately. I love it. I love the cold weather. Makes it so much easier for doing a Let's Play. Because my computer emits enough heat that it actually is like a space heater. I don't use much electricity. Granted, my kitchen is like 53 degrees, but still. Anyways. Also, how the hell do these things levitate? What the hell? They have lily pads on top of their head making them stay up, or... Actually, is that what those holes on the side of their head that keep opening? Could they be gushing air out of the sides of their hole? On those holes on the sides of their heads? To make those feathers go back and forth. That could be possible, I have no idea. Anyway, these guys really haven't changed at all. Still 2000 HP, still casting kind of pointless skills. So we are just gonna take him out as soon as possible. Also, what's with your nose of like 4 tendrils? I've never really got that. What evolutionary purpose do those serve? These things are freaky looking, though. The huge slug still takes the cake, but still. Also one hit, I think. I wasn't really paying attention. We've already seen this boss battle, so it's kind of like, eh. Oh yeah, money. Something we don't need. Really, you don't need much money to finish this game, which is nice. Like in Tales of Graces, which I said I just finished. I need like... I've spent over 99 million gold. What the fuck? That's pretty ridiculous. And I need, like, to complete my collector's book with the gems, I would have needed, like, 15 more million. So I just said, screw it. Fuck the gems, I don't need 100% on those. Anyways. Back to whatever the hell we were doing, I wasn't paying attention again. Something with bologna sausage. Floating eggs. Going back to the beginning. To take another route through this area. Seeing all the bosses really is a cool part of it. I like it. Oh, and here's an intersection that we haven't been to yet. That's cool. Oh, and an empty room full of nothingness. You love it when developers put those things in with absolutely no decoration at all. Something that kind of bothers me about older RPGs. Whether mostly from like NES and SNES and really early RPGs, but just a waste of time. Maybe not so much here. Anyway, 2 Mikbas. That kind of defeats my theory about Maria making a whole bunch of monsters that we already fought before just to test us. Because Mikba was a person before he turned into this thing. So that kind of throws out that explanation. If somebody else has another explanation, feel free to leave it in the comments. I would be interested to hear what you say about it. Where can I get an axe that big? I don't think anybody would be able to pick it up. Need a crane to transport it to your house. Anyway. UPS! Can't do this. Or FedEx would be able to do it. Anyway. Off topic as usual. Like I said though, not much to talk about. Mikba is kind of a joke here. Could have tossed like 5 Mikbas at us and we would have had no trouble at all. There goes one, and I'm pretty sure the other one's just going to go here in a second. Have a high defense though. Not doing much damage. Maybe they have a electric resistance. Because that's what Ryu's sword is electric. I think it is anyway, that's the royal sword, it's electric. I think it's the same as the Barbarossa in terms of its attributes. Anyway, the most fun side effect in any game is poison. So let's get that off and continue onwards. Why don't we go up the ladder? Nope, nope, okay. Alright! Another room full of... what? Now, Mikba I could understand making a copy of, because... well, I don't really understand it, but... Mikba was technically a bad guy. But Geist wasn't. Geist was on our side. But anyway, Geist here, I think he has the same or less HP than he did, which is odd since Ryu fought him by himself and didn't really have much trouble there, so... Some minor confusion trouble here, but really, you're too weak to take us on, Geist. You really are. You have nothing going for you at all. So, we're back here again. Now let's head all the way back and finish this area up, just so we can get it over with. Really, a lot of walking, but this is kind of child's play when it comes to walking compared to the Desert of Death. A few words describe how terrible it is. Cool, we can go up here too. And get a chest with moon tears. Sweet. And that is another exit out of here. That's cool. Now we just have one place to go, and that's the bottom side of this. Go all the way back to the beginning and take the left path this time. Finish off the bosses that are still here. One fight is really fun, and one fight actually kills me. Kills Ryu, at least. Underestimated them. You'll see what I mean. Just a second. Still, left forward, left, right, forward, foot, talking, commentary, empty room, whoop. Alright, now we're here. Oh, we've fought these guys before. A bunch of Rockies. Now let's get rid of these great Rockies. I think they have less HP, but who cares? I want to take them all out at once, but I'm not able to do this, unfortunately. My magic isn't that good. But I tried. The main thing is, Pico is going to reprise all of them and kill most of them, so... Kind of takes a short fight. Short, fun fight, and changes it a little. Oh well. Still though, let's murder everything in our sights. Woohoo. Now continuing. Rocky is still dying. Oh, here are another things. Stallions! Electrical stallions. Yeah, it's been a while since we fought these. These things kind of give me a little bit of trouble. In the sense that I underestimated them. But they all have utmost attack and some pretty strong magic, surprisingly. Even though we fought them... well, in the childhood arc. Granted, that was pretty much the end of the childhood arc, but still. These guys are a pain in the ass, because they have barrier, and resist, and all that. Plus, I was attacking them separately, and I screwed up that super combo. Completely. I messed up on the very first one. That's kinda sad. Anyway, see how much I was underestimating them? I was just using regular attacks. They actually have a pretty high defense. Although Fire Blast does nothing. What about Ice? Oh, that did quite a bit of damage. Against Pico still, but... Ah, that's the one that's gonna hurt the most. The lightning guy in the back. Guess who I take out last? The lightning guy out in the back. Damn you, sample 10, 11, and 12. Also, this skill again, gotta love that one. Also feels like they're getting extra turns, but maybe that's just because there's so many of them. Now, let's get kind of serious here. This is taking a lot longer than it should have. Oh well. Things happen. But hey, I gotta get my commentary in here somewhere. Because by the end of the video, I'm gonna be pretty quiet once we get out of this area. So, let's just get out. Let's finish these guys off. Got one down, but the guy in the back is the most threatening because of lightning. It's actually hurting quite a bit. Rather painful. Oh, and it killed Ryu. Except he had guts. Also, resist invulnerability. Gotta love it. I hate that shit. I finally realized which one was the hard one, so... That's getting a bit close there. Being cocky. That's what'll fuck you up in any RPG, though. Any game, really. Being cocky. I hate resist. It's such an annoying skill. Just puts off what... It's not really even, like, a useful skill. It just puts it off. Pisses me off. Oh, and my attack heals him because I have a lightning sword on. Great. Frickin' weapon attributes. And screwing up another super combo. That's great, in the same fight nonetheless. Having no AP. Just kill one of them! Ah, it's taking so long. And it kills Pico. Why do you add a spirit soul gem on? What a waste of a soul gem here. So let's put another one on him. Thank you for finally getting rid of one. Woohoo! Finally dead. Quite a lot of experience too. Sweet. Ray learned Mjolnir. I don't know how to pronounce that. Mjolnir. I think that's the strongest lightning attack in the game. And Ray learned it, so that's cool. His intelligence isn't very high, so he can't actually do much damage with it, but still. Ray does learn some magic, it's just he has a really low base intelligence. Not as low as Gar, but still. Not as low as... I think Pico gets a pretty low base one. You can build them up however you want, but still. Alright, and our final save. The final save point in the game. Alright. Now let's get this over with. 34 hours. And almost 4 hours of that is just standing around. Because I kind of forget to... Like, after saving my game, I sometimes forget to shut off my console. And then I forget if I save it, then resave it. Just in case when I come back to it or something. But anyway. This is a continuation of the area before the reminiscent boss battles. Still some of the hardest bosses in the game. You get the vampire and the night bat. The vampire gets a bunch of HP back, depending on how many night bats are around. So we gotta defeat the night bats to defeat the vampire. You can actually kill the vampire before you kill the night bat, but I don't really have any holy weapons or holy attacks here, so not something that I'm gonna focus on. You get double experience for it, and that's about it. You can see how much HP he's getting back. Right. Yeah, kill that vampire. And what a strong frost. Who knew vampires had such high intelligence? Kind of surprising after Twilight. Anyway. Before Twilight. Actually, this was way before Twilight, so... whatever. And once we get rid of the bats, he actually pulls out his strongest attacks. Like Death! And, like Death, it actually hit somebody for once. Surprise, surprise, it had to be on my party instead of me using it on somebody else's party, but... Hey, let's cast Death again. On the same guy! And it actually hitting again. You know how low of a chance that is to hit? That's 10% plus 10%. That's pretty bad. And here I can't find my ammonia. Did you notice the gap on the bar on the right where it shows I have no items at? I thought that end of the list there was my end of the list. It wasn't. I have stuff underneath it. I just used so much of a couple items that I guess there's a gap there. Here am I, looking through this shit. Can't find anything. Now, if I just scrolled down a little bit more, I would have been able to find it. The Crocteer does not heal from death, but whatever. It heals 5. That almost had the chance of causing confusion, but it couldn't, because Pico is badass. So, Ryu has a death penalty now. So let's go back and rest up at that area. It takes me a while to realize I still have ammonia in my inventory. I just didn't scroll down all the way. Yay. Another encounter. And there's Honey there looking at that, whatever that is. A Goo King! Well, let's see if we can take this thing on without it fleeing. You know how bad of a chance he is that he won't flee? Yeah. Well, we get to fight and kill one at least. Granted, he did kill a couple guys, but still. This is some nice music. This is a very, very high-tech area. Yeah, look at that badass elevator montage. Bad wording. Fantasy game! We're forced to hear your words whether we want to or not. Okay. Get the hell out of my way. And this is the final area where you can encounter bad guys. So let's just fight through this whatever that was and escape the battle. Except for we can't escape. Because the game is feeling particularly dreadful. It's forcing us to fight a battle where I just want to get and finish the game! God! Pissing me off. Alright, cool. More information. Thankfully there are no random count. Ter's here. So that's cool. We don't have to be forced to hear any of this stupid transitions from battles and have to do a lot of editing here. That's great. So, I guess we are just... So we're gonna have to just listen to all these large-chested women. That's cool. So let's walk around again and see if something changed.